Hey everybody, welcome to my latest Stories in a Song video here on YouTube. Well, this is a couple of days later than I thought I was going to be getting this on here, but finally got a chance to do it today, so here I go. Today's song is called One Piece at a Time. It's a song by Johnny Cash and the Tennessee Three. It was released in 1976 and written by Wayne Kemp. This is my fifth Johnny Cash song on my YouTube playlist, my karaoke songs, and it's my second one recently that I've done, and it's my 275th video on there in total. So 3/4 of the way between 200 and 300 videos. Woo! Well, the first time I remember hearing One Piece at a Time was just after I picked up this tape. This tape right here. It's called Johnny Cash Sings Greatest Trucker Hits. Keep on trucking with Fruhoff. I might have either picked this up at a flea market type of place, or might have got it from my sister-in-law. But it was around the time when I got this tape that it might have been back in the 1990s when I got this in London, Ontario, if it was at a market, at the market there in London. But many years later, in 2019, in fact around this time of year, I sang this song during a karaoke contest at Dooley's Bar here in Miramichi. Actually, it was one of 4 songs that I sang on the final night of the contest that helped me win first place in the contest. And I will be singing the other 3 songs on my next 3 videos. A little bit about this song, One Piece at a Time. It is a country novelty song. I like this song so much because it has what is to me the most important factor in deciding what makes a great song. It tells a good story. And on top of that, it's just so darn fun to sing. It's a very humorous song. In the song, the narrator leaves his home in Kentucky in 1949 to pursue work at General Motors in Detroit, Michigan, installing wheels on Cadillacs, watching each one roll by day after day on the assembly line, knowingly lamenting that he will never be able to afford one of his own. People from the US South went north to find work in factories, starting in the Depression. So this part of the song, I'm sure, resonated with many listeners. Beginning almost immediately, the narrator and a co-worker decide to, quote-unquote, steal a Cadillac by way of using their assembly line jobs to obtain the parts via salami slicing. He takes the small parts home hidden in his unusually large lunchbox. Larger parts are smuggled out in his co-worker's motorhome. The process of accumulating all the necessary parts turns out to take at least 25 years. As the newest part mentioned, the engine is from 1973. But once they have what they think is a complete car, they attempt to assemble the pieces. Because automakers inevitably make numerous changes to their models, designs, and parts over the course of a quarter century, the result was a hodgepodge of parts from different years and models that did not fit together well. For example, the bolt holes disappear when attempting to fit the 1973 engine with a 1953 transmission, and there was only one right headlight and 2 left headlights. And only one tail fin. Despite these problems, the narrator and his co-worker get the car in proper working condition. The singer's wife is skeptical of the outcome, but wants a ride in it anyway. Townspeople begin laughing at the narrator's unique car as he takes it to have it registered. However, the folks at the courthouse were not as pleased. They took the quote-unquote whole staff to complete the vehicle title, which ended up weighing 60 pounds. The song ends with a CB radio conversation between the narrator and a truck driver inquiring about the Psychobilly Cadillac, in which the singer replies, "You might say I went right up to the factory and picked it up. It's cheaper that way," unquote. When asked what model it is, the narrator describes it as model years 1949 up to 1970. The song is in a moderate tempo in the key of F major, with a main chord pattern of F, B flat, C seventh, and F again. The verses are done in a talking blues style. Cash had used a similar spoken word format and chord progression in his earlier hit, A Boy Named Sue. That's one of the other 4 songs that I'll be doing in my next 4 videos, by the way, too. Right, and I also have another tape here that is of Johnny Cash, obviously. Greatest Hits Volume 3, and that also contains this song, One Piece at a Time, on side 2. It's track number 2 on side 2 of this tape. On this other tape that I showed you before, One Piece at a Time is on here as well. It is track number 1, 2, 3, 4 on side 1. Yep. And then there's this CD that I also showed you from before on other Johnny Cash videos that I've done that also has One Piece at a Time on it. And it is the last song on this CD, called The Best of Johnny Cash Collections. Yep, that's all the copies of One Piece at a Time that I've got in my music collection. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the songwriter Wayne Kemp. Let's see here. Wayne Kemp, he was born on June the 1st, 1940 in Greenwood, Arkansas, as Clarence Wayne Kemp. He was also a country singer. He has written or co-written 22 songs that have been released by more than one artist, from Love Bug, originated by George Jones in July 1965. I'll have that song in a future video. To Hot Burning Flames, originally by George Strait in September 1986. His most covered song is Image of Me, originally by Kemp himself and made famous by Conway Twitty. One Piece at a Time is third on that list, third most covered song of Wayne Kemp's songs. Kemp was inducted into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1999. Kemp died on March 9th, 2015 at the age of 74. He was suffering from multiple ailments and was on kidney dialysis when he died. And One Piece at a Time is the third Wayne Kemp song that I've done a video of. After I just came to get my baby by Fair and Young, and Who'll Turn Out the Lights by Mel Street. Those were also written by Wayne Kemp. Johnny Cash made the original recording of One Piece at a Time at House of Cash Recording Studio. That's his own recording studio in Hendersonville, Tennessee, on March 5th, 1976. The recording was co-produced by Charlie Bragg and Don Davis. The single was released in late March or early April 1976 on Columbia Records with the B-side Go On Blues, written by Cash. The artist was credited on the single as Johnny Cash and the Tennessee Three. That is Marshall Grant, Bob Wooten at the time. Luther Perkins had passed away by then, and the drummer W.S. Holland. The single entered the US Billboard Hot Country Singles Top 40 on April the 24th, 1976, becoming Cash's 88th Top 40 country hit. It charted for 11 weeks and peaked at number 1 for 2 weeks from May 29th to June 12th, 1976, becoming his last of 13 solo number 1 country hits. He had a number 1 hit with Highwaymen later with The Highwaymen, with his buddies Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, and Chris Christopherson. The single also reached number 1 on Canada's RPM Country Tracks and RPM Adult Contemporary charts, number 6 on the US Billboard Easy Listening, number 29 on the US Billboard Hot 100. It was his last song to reach that chart. It entered the top 40 on the Hot 100 on May 15th, 1976, and charted for 3 weeks. And it also hit number 32 on the UK singles chart and number 40 on Canada's RPM Top Singles. On the year-end charts for 1976, it ranked number 9 on Billboard US Hot Country Singles. And as part of the song's international promotion, Bruce Fitzpatrick, owner of Abernathy Auto Parts and Hilltop Auto Salvage in Nashville, was asked to build the vehicle. Fitzpatrick had all the models of Cadillacs mentioned in the song when it was released, and built a car using the song as a model. It took about 8 to 10 days, according to Fitzpatrick. The result was presented to Cash in April 1976. It was parked outside the House of Cash Museum until someone could find a place to store it. After the House of Cash closed, Fitzpatrick retrieved it with a wrecker, brought it back to his business, and crushed it. The song became the title track for Cash's 54th album, released on May 17, 1976 on Columbia Records. One Piece at a Time was track 2 on the album. The album reached number 2 on the US Billboard Country Albums chart and number 185 on its Pop Albums chart. Personnel on the album included a lot of great musicians. Johnny Cash on vocals and acoustic guitar, the Tennessee Three, which was Bob Wooten on electric guitar, Marshall Grant on bass, and W.S. Holland on drums, plus some of the biggest names in Nashville musicianship. Bobby Thompson, Pete Wade, Dave Kirby, Jerry Hensley, Jack Routh, Helen Carter-Jones, and Jimmy Capps on guitar, Henry Strzelecki and Joe Allen on bass, Willie Ackerman, Jerry Kerrigan, and Kenny Malone on drums, Lloyd Green on steel guitar, Tommy Williams on mandolin, Tommy Jackson, Buddy Spiker, and Johnny Gimbel on fiddle, Bobby Wood, David Briggs, Larry McCoy, and Earl Poole Ball on piano, Charlie McCoy on harmonica, George Tidwell on trumpet, and the Nashville Edition on background vocals. The B-side of the One Piece at a Time single, Go On Blues, was later re-recorded during the American recording session with Rick Rubin. It was not on the album, but part of the promo single for Delia's Gone. And now, some information about the cover versions of One Piece at a Time. 15 cover versions of One Piece at a Time have been released to date. One of those is in Czech, written by Jan Weisetal. One is in German, written by Gunter Gabriel, and 13 are in English. Of those 13, I've only heard of one of the artists before, so we are all going to learn something new today. So the first cover was by American singer, songwriter, and guitarist Michelle Schacht in 1988 on the Various Artists Red Rhino album, Till Things Are Brighter, a tribute to Johnny Cash. Then by American country rock band The Cowslingers in 1993 on their Estrus single, Hogtied. Then by the British band Big Red Rocket in 1998. I think they might be British because their label was British that they recorded this song on. It was a British label, so possibly a British band, I'm not quite sure. They did theirs on the Various Artists Raucous Records album, Get Rhythm, a tribute to the Man in Black. Then by the only artist of the 13 covers who I've heard of before, American outlaw country music singer and songwriter David Allan Coe in 1998 on his King album, Johnny Cash is a Friend of Mine. Then we have by American rock band from Chicago, Tub Ring in 2001 on the Various Artists Go Custom album, Cash from Chaos, a tribute to the legendary Man in Black, Johnny Cash. Then by American singer, songwriter, musician born in the Midwest who plays electric, edgy, traditional country, rockabilly, twang, aggression, unquote. That's quite a description. Excuse me, goodness. With his group, Bill Dewey and the Dynamics, Bill Dewey in 2004 on his Namix Records album, My Tribute to Johnny Cash. Then by American Detroit-born guitarist, singer, songwriter, producer, and film and television composer Wayne Kramer on November 15th, 2005 on the Various Artists CMH Records album, The Train of Love, a tribute to Johnny Cash. And by Canadian artists, so to say that I've never heard of this person because I'm Canadian too, but Canadian artist Marcel Soulodra in 2005 on his self-released Irrational Man album, Wanted Man, Marcel Soulodra sings the songs of Johnny Cash. And by American horror punk band from Detroit, Nuke and the Living Dead on October 26, 2007 on the Various Artists Wolverine Records album, Paid in Black, a tribute to Johnny Cash. And finally by American band Deja Vu on August 31st, 2010 on their Zulu album, a tribute to Johnny Cash. There are 5 more cover versions of One Piece at a Time. And now a little bit about Johnny Cash himself, a little biographical sketch of him. Let's see here. Johnny Cash. He was born J.R. Cash on February 26, 1932 in Kingsland, Arkansas, near Pine Bluff in the south central part of the state. He was nicknamed the Man in Black for his trademark all-black stage outfit. He was also known as John R. Cash. In addition to singing, he was also a songwriter, musician, and actor. He was active in the music business from 1954 to 2003. He was married twice, first to homemaker and author Vivian Liberto. They were married in 1954 and divorced in 1966. They had 4 daughters together, including Roseanne, a singer-songwriter and author, and Cindy, a singer, author, and antiques dealer. The second wife was June Carter, a country singer and songwriter. They were married in 1968 after Johnny proposed to her on stage at the London Gardens in my old hometown of London, Ontario. She died in 2003. just before Johnny Cash actually did. They had one son, John Carter, a country singer, songwriter, musician, author, and record producer. And among his other famous relatives are his brother, country musician Tommy Cash, and his grandson, singer and songwriter Thomas Gabriel. Cash served in the US Air Force during the Korean War from 1950 to 1954, achieving the rank of Staff Sergeant. He performed in the country, rockabilly, rock and roll, folk, and blues genres. He played guitar. He recorded for the Sun, Mercury, American Recordings, House of Cash, and Legacy labels, in addition to Columbia. He was formerly of the Highwaymen with Chris Christopherson, Waylon Jennings, and Willie Nelson. 929 solo records plus 311 records with other artists, for a total of 1,240, have been released on Johnny Cash between 1955 and 2021. His albums discography includes 67 studio albums, 16 live albums, 105 compilation albums, 7 video albums, 4 soundtrack albums, and 14 tribute albums. His singles discography includes 20 music videos and 170 singles, 14 of which reached number 1, including Sunday Morning Coming Down, yeah, but also One Piece at a Time also. I'm reading this off the Sunday Morning Coming Down sheet. That's why I almost said that. Okay, and a little bit about the awards Johnny Cash has won. He's won many awards in his career. He was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame as the youngest member ever inducted at the age of 48 in 1980. He also is in the Cheyenne Frontier Days Hall of Fame, inducted in 2003, the Gospel Music Hall of Fame in 2011, the Memphis Music Hall of Fame in 2013, and the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1977, the Rockabilly Hall of Fame as the 115th inductee, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1992. He received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on February 8, 1960. He was a Kennedy Center honoree in 1996. Johnny Cash died of complications from diabetes at Baptist Hospital in Nashville on September 12, 2003, age 71. He was buried next to his wife, June Carter, at Hendersonville Memory Gardens near his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Like Waylon Jennings, Cash is one of the artists that I wish I would have seen perform live, but like Waylon, Cash had cut back his touring schedule due to health problems by the time I started going to concerts in a big way, so I never did get to see Johnny Cash live, but we certainly have all these great songs that he did left behind, so today I'm going to sing one of those called One Piece at a Time. All right, here we go. Right on, One Piece at a Time, as made famous by Johnny Cash, written by Wayne Kemp. Here we go. Well, I left Kentucky back in '49 and went to Detroit working on the assembly line. The first year they had me putting wheels on Cadillacs. Every day I'd watch them beauties roll by, and sometimes I'd hang my head and cry, 'cause I always wanted me one that was long and black. One day I devised myself a plan that should be the envy of most any man. I'd sneak it out of there in a lunchbox in my hand. Now, getting caught meant getting fired, but I figured I'd have it all by the time I retired. I'd have me a car worth at least $100,000. I'd get it one piece at a time, and it didn't cost me a dime. You'll know it's me when I come through your town. I'm gonna ride around in style, I'm gonna drive everybody wild, 'cause I'll have the only one there is around. So the very next day when I punched in with my big lunchbox and with help from my friends, I left that day with a lunchbox full of gears. Now I never considered myself a thief, but GM wouldn't miss just one little piece, especially if I strung it out over several years. The first day I got me a fuel pump, and the next day I got me an engine and a trunk, then I got me a transmission and all the chrome. The little things I could get in my big lunchbox, like nuts and bolts and all 4 shocks, but the big stuff we snuck out in my buddy's mobile home. Now up till now, my plan went all right till we tried to put it all together one night, and that's when we noticed that something was definitely wrong. The transmission was a 53 and the motor turned out to be a 73, and when we tried to put in the bolts, all the holes were gone. So we drilled it out so that it would fit, and with a little bit of help from an adapter kit, we had that engine running just like a song. Now the headlights, there was another sight. We had 2 on the left and 1 on the right, but when we pulled out the switch, all 3 of them come on. The back end looked kind of funny too, but we put it together, and when we got through, well, that's when we noticed that we only had 1 tail fin. About that time, my wife walked out, and I could see in her eyes that she had her doubts, but she opened the door and said, "Honey, take me for a spin." Good God Almighty. So we drove uptown just to get the tags, and I headed her right on down Main Drag. I could hear everybody laughing for blocks around. But up there at the courthouse, they didn't laugh, because to type it up, they took the whole staff, and when they got through, the title weighed 60 pounds. I got it 1 piece at a time, and it didn't cost me a dime. You'll know it's me when I come through your town. I'm gonna ride around in style, I'm gonna drive everybody wild, 'cause I'll have the only one there is around. Huh? Yeah, Red Rider, this is the Cottonmouth in the Psychobilly Cadillac, come on. Huh? Yeah, this is the Cottonmouth and negatory on the cost of this machine there, Red Rider. You might say I went right up to the factory and picked it up myself. It's cheaper that way. Oh, what model is it? Well, it's a 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59 automobile. It's a 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70 automobile. Woo! All right, son of a gun. There's a great song called 1 Piece at a Time, Johnny Cash from 1976. Whoa, boy, I hope you all enjoyed that song a whole lot. Sure did enjoy singing it for you. Hopefully you could tell that from the way I was doing it there. Whoa, boy, now I'm really jacked up now. All right, well, sad to say that that's going to be the end of this video, but I will be back on Sunday in just a couple of days with another video, another song that I did at the karaoke contest back in 2019, and it's one that actually put me over the top and helped, and really was the one that won it for me. It was called Auctioneer by Leroy Van Dyke. So I'll be doing that one on my next video. Thank you all for watching and listening, and we'll see you all again next time. Have a good day.